Hi and welcome to another MoTeC webinar. My name's Pete Swinney and today's subject is how to adjust the knock control threshold in an M1 ECU. Before you even do this, I need to make sure that in the case of the Sea-Doo jet skis that you have the knock physically wired into the ECU. Early looms had provision for the external SKM to be used for knock detection and control. So if you have an early loom, then need to make sure that you jumper the wire from the knock sensor into the ECU itself. The best way to do that is to take the grey wire as shown on the right hand picture here, place it into a 4-pin DTM male, and then put it into position 2 and click it into the knock SKM wiring connector there. Any other method you choose to use obviously is up to you, but you basically want to join pin 2 from the 4-pin connector here to pin 2 on the 2-pin connector there. Alright, so you need to make sure that's working. Alright, so after that we need to go out and do some testing and have a look in I2 at the knock traces. They should look something like what you see here in front of you now. So again, the example is a 3-cylinder Sea-Doo jet ski, and it has a configured knock threshold. Now we're not going to get into the full details of how to do knock setup. This is more for customers that have got level 1 logging, can only see and adjust the knock threshold line. It's assuming that the correct frequency has been set up in the ECU, and this is just a matter of adjusting the threshold to suit. So as we can see, what we're after here is a test with a known safe tune-up. The tune-up's got to be reasonably close, but you want to do that test without the fear of any detonation occurring. So as much power as you can make and still be happy that there is no detonation. The correct way to do it is to be listening to the engine, but just running a safe amount of timing is close enough to get you started. So we do, in this case you'll see they've done a full throttle pass here, whoops, and we can see the knock traces from the 3 cylinders and the threshold in purple here set across. Okay, so we're after this threshold to be sitting just above what's normal background noise. Now I'd suggest to you this little event here is a small ping, and it should be going across the knock threshold. The knock control system works by retarding timing as a percentage of the amount of the cylinder that is exceeding the knock threshold. So if the cylinder in this case is going over by 20%, then there is an amount of ignition timing removed proportional to the 20% that the offending cylinder exceeds the knock threshold. So worst scenario, you leave the knock threshold up at 100% here. That way you can have detonation events happening underneath it and no knock control will take place and the engine may be damaged. Okay, so run with the safe tune-up, retrieve the log data, look in I2 at the channels, and then come up with a figure that you want to run the threshold at. Different RPM levels or different engine speeds will have different levels of threshold. So you can see down here at an earlier RPM around 5,000, the knock levels set to about 22. As you change the engine or change brands or whatever, the background noise will be different. So if you change the engine, put in different pistons, change the mounting of it, put it in a different hull, this can often affect the amplitude of the knock signal. So we need to make sure that the threshold is set correctly. Now if you set the threshold too low, let's say it's down at this level here where the mouse is going across, what that'll mean is that the knock control will continue to pull ignition out and the engine will have no power because there's all this ignition timing being pulled out constantly. So this is what we would determine as background noise, so we want to be just sitting above what's normal background noise. Okay, So in the M1 and tune, we want to find the knock calibration setup and go to the threshold table and make some adjustments. I'll just flick to the live software to show you how to do that. Alright, so here's our CDO package open. It's connected, and there's a couple of ways we can do this. Depending on your package, sometimes you'll have a knock worksheet dedicated here, and in this worksheet there's only parameters relating to the knock control. One thing you'll always have is the all calibrate worksheet, so you can actually go across to here and type in the parameter you're after. So we're actually after the parameter or the table called knock threshold, so we can type in KNOC, and we don't even have to complete the whole word, and then just TH, and we can see we've got the knock threshold table here. See this little cube here? That means it's a table, and that turns up over here. Okay, so you can just press G, G and G, and that toggles around between the graph and the table. And we can go across and make adjustments now in the table to whatever level we think we want. So different engine speeds, you can look in your data logging and adjust the numbers so that the knock threshold line just sits above the background noise. Okay, simple as that. So I can maybe hold down shift, highlight all the way across here and type in a number of say 70, enter. Alright, have a look at that now. There's the new numbers there. Alright, it's as simple as that. So you'd go out and retest it again, and we'd want to come back and have a look and make sure it was right. So if we go back to our log file, this is kind of a pretty ideal setting here. That event there is probably not a knock event. It may be, but it's only very small. So the moment that cylinder did detonate, worse if it did, it would come above the knock threshold here, and ignition timing would start to be pulled out. There'll be a separate webinar on setting up knock control. This one's just about how to set the threshold. Okay, so make the changes in the table and you're done. Thanks for watching. You can get more information on our forum, go to our website and go to the webinars, and there's lots of other things there to brush up on your M1 tune knowledge and go from there. We're going to update these regularly, so keep an eye out. Thanks for watching.